We can never be too careful. It's always advisable that no matter what, don't give them money.
The blackmailer had the videos, and then he kept asking for money, and sometimes this girl will have to go and borrow money to give this guy.
The hurt that someone that you trusted is doing this to you.
Because I did it with you because from a place of trust, and then you're now coming back at me.
Yeah.
It's hurtful.
In fact, the person is shameless.
It's
Open up to people that are there to you, because they will be your only support when, if anything happens next.
Most of these people actually place the camera somewhere without the consent of this other party.
Yeah.
So how is that person supposed to know?
And these are the consequences when you decide to make this kind of choice. Don't do this, don't do this. Set the appropriate boundaries. These are the things that could happen if you don't. And at the end of the day, I think we can have less victims.
Enjoying the ride is what we make sure you do, and that is why we keep steering the wheels in different direction. And today we're going another direction yet again. My name is Paul, and with me here is
Jonese.
and also we have in the building
Jennifer Kizito.
I can't understate the fact that it's always a pleasure to have you in the building.
Honestly,
And, exactly.
Thank you.
I
always
like
love
the
having you
hair.
around.
I like the shirt. I like the necklace. But what happened now?
Nothing. So today we're talking about a very sad topic, I must say, and it's one that is one way or the other ravaging our communities. I mean, according to Interpol and also UNODC, the states that sextortion at the moment is rampaging our society with increased numbers here and there, and majorly the targets remain minor and young adults. Or sextortion is simply the combination of sex and extortion, using sexual exploitations to exploit someone, sexual, I don't know what to call it. I don't know if I just call it an assault or molestation or something, but it's just using sexual images, sexual videos to exploit someone, to blackmail the person. And it's one that it's sad because, I mean, in the US now in 2023, there were over 7,000 cases in just a year, according to the FBI. And this thing is usually comes from different directions, different places, different people. And it's a sad one, I must say.
Honestly, that particular word you mentioned, blackmailing, that's like one of the
That's
biggest,
like the keyword there.
The keyword there. And there are several methods these culprits use to victimize people, and one of it is catfishing. Not the normal catfish that you eat, but you know, in another sense. And this is where people tend to establish a mutual, beneficial, cordial relationship with people. And this thing starts from, you don't know this person, but somebody just takes interest in you. And you are so loving, so nice. You'll be like, who is this person that is liking me like this? Let me give it. And before you know it, they will start demanding things from you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And by that time, before then, you've already built this trust and say, okay, whatever this person wants, you are ready to give in, especially your personal details.
Exactly.
And you see, in fact, both women and men are actually victimized in this particular situation. Yes. And you see them sending videos of themselves, pictures. And before you know it, the person will say, okay, we have come to the end of the loving part. Let's come to the extorting part. And you see them telling you, okay, if you don't do this, if you don't give me some amount of money, I'll release your pictures to the public. And it's a very, very serious case.
I think what was very interesting for me in all of this is the fact that sometimes it's someone that is very intimate with you.
Yeah.
It's your partner.
So the relationship is based on trust.
Exactly. So the trust level there is even above 100. And then this person is now now coming behind your back to blackmail you with things that you shared
Yeah.
as that are meant to be intimately shared with just the two of you, like memories that two of you had together. I mean, there's this story in India where they met online and they were talking, and then at the end of the day, they said video calls. They had video calls. They had voice calls. They had chats back and forth.
Yeah.
And then this person started recording all of those things. I mean, in very complicated,
without the consent of the other person.
obviously it's without, right?
Obviously.
And then at the end of the day, this person asked for 3 lakhs. That's about $35 US dollars in today's this now. And it's what amazes me there is the fact that because two of us are in a, so to say, romantic relationship, right? So we feel like there's that level of trust. So we don't need to hide anything from each other. I mean, you've seen me, I've seen you, and then we have like, it's not that okay, this person is sometimes not even a stranger. There's another story where it was the person's husband. So apparently they were far apart, and he had ulterior motive actually. He wanted to divorce her, and then his plan was to get explicit images of her, and then try to use that one in the case and all of that, so that it goes scot free and things like that. But it does. Majorly what shocks me here is the fact that it's usually from people with high level of trust, those that you've shared all of your secrets, those that know how you bath, how you wake up, how you sleep, how you even snore at night. They are usually those people that are usually at the forefront of all of this.
So let's hear from you, Jennifer.
I'm just thinking just like you said, you have a level of trust to actually give these things to these people, which actually proves the fact that we can never be too careful. You can't get to a point where you say, you can just open up and just let things be. You mentioned the couple, you mentioned strangers. That means we can never be too careful when we relate with people. Because no matter what you do, you don't know what the next person is thinking. You don't know what their motives are. So the best thing is to always be at a point where you are thinking about your safety first before others. So imagine meeting someone. Okay, we talked about strangers. If you haven't met the person, it's even one thing if maybe the person you're talking about is someone you have met physically, and then maybe you just mentioned husband. You can meet one or two persons and say, help me talk to this person, or maybe meet the person's family. But imagine when he's a stranger, someone in a different country altogether. How do you approach the person? How do you communicate with the person? So at that point, we can never be too careful. We just need to know that no matter how much we trust people, we must be aware that there must be boundaries.
And I think this brings me to me giving a statement about vengeance is for, I don't know, there's a place in the scripture for the people that are Christians. Vengeance is for the Lord. But some people will say, vengeance is for them. So if you are there and you have offended somebody and you are still telling this person your particular secret, that's the end of it, because this person can actually leak your secret out there. And maybe it might not really be the intention of that person. It might just be like, see, just telling another person self that see what this person did with so person's husband. And that other person will be like, just for fun, let me just drop it in everybody's, anybody's airdrop that is on. And that's how you see your videos going round and round.
Well, we've talked about videos, like that means it's you probably intentionally or not intentionally recording the videos and sending it to someone, right? And there's also the one of deepfakes, right? Where we have AI generated images. And I think on this one now, you don't even have to be present. You don't have to be present.
Your consent is not needed.
It's not your consent. It's
fabricated story.
You get. I think in the US, right, cybersecurity firms have come out with reports saying that one of the leading cyber crimes that is happening now is with these deep fakes, blackmailing with AI generated images. And for me, it's very shocking because what exactly did I didn't do anything to offend you for it to just go to AI and say, because I mean, it's very intentional. Like you are going to AI and saying, oh, this is this person's face, generates images that look like this to this person. And then you come at me with those images saying that you
did this.
Exactly. And me knowing fully, I mean, I obviously will have known where I've been. I know the kind of shit I use in my house and things like that. So like, it shouldn't be something that should even be up for discussion at all. Because it shouldn't be in the limelight. I mean, there's even a celebrity's case, that's Taylor Swift, that our deepfake pictures were all over the internet, and it was just haywire, I must say.
This is to tell you that people are jobless and jobful at the same time. In fact, like when I mean people are jobless, you just sat down in your house, just say, okay, you just want to cause chaos and make people feel uncomfortable. This person has not harmed you in any way. Even though the person have harmed you, like, must you come in that particular manner to say, okay, you want to just tell the public? And one thing about this kind of thing is, when it's coming from this particular source and your face is on it, especially this generated AI, most people, especially the illiterate or the people that are not really privileged to be learned, will not be able to differentiate exactly between the real picture and the generated AI. So they will just say, as far is it not the same face, the same eye, the same nose, everything. And they will be like, okay, what are you trying to justify? What do you want to say? And this person, you've put the person into depression. The person will be like, okay, where am I going to start from? How will I start justifying that I did not do this kind of thing just for you to get money? How much is money? Paul can give you. Paul, how much?
How much is money? How much is money? So, like, we talked about how this happens now. What are the impacts on the person? I think we should start from the social impact, because one of the first things that you would notice is the isolation. This person becomes isolated from families, from the society. If this person you just see that sometimes it might even begin to show with their weight as well. That's going to their health now. It might begin to show that if it's someone that will always come into, maybe the person was the life of the party. And then once this happens, like, the person keeps getting these meals and that meal and all of that, this person will just be in their door, not come out. There are people that are not, and another thing again that is even shocking me is that what if that kind of person now is someone that stays indoor naturally, and then something that person is now going through all of that. What will be going on in the person's head actually?
Well,
that's death sentence.
I'm telling you, some people, there are many issues of people who commit suicide, and as the result of things like this, because you just don't know what to do. We're talking about social impacts. We'll talk about the fact that your finances will be affected.
Sure.
That's why it's always advisable that no matter what, don't give them money. If you do it once, you will
exactly.
Because humans are greedy. Once they know that it has happened once, you've given them once. The next time they ask for 100 now. The next time they're asking for 500.
They will now go and spend it until the money finish. They will now come back.
Because they know it worked the first time. They will keep trying. I think there was a story of one of our Nigerian celebrities that it happened to some time ago. She, her sex tape leaked online then. And then she had paid the guy for years until she became tired. I think maybe she had a fallout eventually with the person, and the person released her tape online.
Like, after everything,
after all the money that has been spent for years.
The thing is that because the person now sees it as an avenue to make money.
Exactly.
That's one thing I would also point out here. Because, I mean, I sent you this saying, okay, send me so amount. You send that, right? Probably you didn't even waste time. Maybe that one, the person might say, oh, if the person can send this, right? That means this person has more that I can send. And maybe on days when the person is broke and he doesn't have anything to do again, remembers that, oh, I still have these videos, right? Ask for more again, and then you give again. So it's just going to be more of like a business transaction. Oh, your subscription has finished, so you need to pay so that I don't release this thing, and then it just goes on and on and on like that.
Imagine you are already in an office space. You are an employee, be an employer, and you are, with your colleagues, and something like this has happened to you. Your colleagues will just start sharing your, sorry, that guy. Even the sorry isn't all they are telling you, because they are already mocking you, and you see yourself drifting away from the office, and you will not even be, you will not be even working well. And some of them can even lead to your termination of employment.
Exactly.
You see, your employee will just say, okay, so that you will not tarnish our image. Before they will say, that person that this thing happened to, that's the company he's working for. And most of all these bosses, they don't want their image, the image of their company to go into the mud. So they will say, okay, please, you can now give us space. Or even though they might not really terminate your employment, they might just demote you or just keep you one side and say, just stay one place. Then in the angle of education, especially our young adults, you see them going very, very, they will start going down in their education.
Yeah.
They don't come to classes anymore. You know how students can broadcast information even though you're not studying mass comm. It will just be moving round and round, and everything will just be going haywire. And you see, anywhere you go to, they will start pointing fingers. Somebody in social work will be like, somebody in history has done this. Have you seen the girl?
Yeah.
And your pictures will just be everywhere. And even though you not pay for adverts, everybody will be using you to be doing advertisements. So it's very, very annoying, and it's very, very sad. Like, people are really, really going through.
Okay,
And we can talk about
we'll go on a break now.
Yeah.
And then once we return, we'll pick up from here. Actually, it's going to be a very stressed conversation. And so let's go on a break. Let's go and drink water, and then we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, let's face it, our world today experiences numerous challenges. And guess what? Our community isn't off the hook either. Most of the world issues are either not talked about enough or never talked about at all. But here on Timeline, we've got you covered. We dive deep into issues that affect us every day, leaving behind footprints of wisdom, knowledge, and solutions. Think of it like a roadmap that keeps you on the track for success. So buckle up, because in this new season of Timeline, we're taking another trip through the past, the present, and navigate into a more promising future. Again, we're talking solutions, people, and let's make one thing clear. This is not your average blah, blah, blah convo. This is real talk with a side of inspiration and a sprinkle of wow. I never thought about it like that. I'm your host on this impactful ride. Together, we'll tackle the tough stuff, laugh a little, and find ourselves on the path to positive change. So what are you waiting for? Season 2 of Timeline will be loaded. Let's get started. Hop in, and let's drive straight into the heart of issues shaping our world. Let's go. Oh, one more thing. Hit that subscribe button, and let's take this ride together.
Every day, amazing stories of hope and tenacity unfold across the globe. On Hued Hour, we dive into these inspiring tales and discuss the vital work being done in the humanitarian and development space. Humanity has never faced a shortage of challenges, yet we rise stronger through teamwork and determination. Though these remedies are often underreported, on Hued Hour, we advocate sustainable solutions. We bring you the latest and most impactful news on how lives are being changed. We engage with young change makers and experts who provide valuable insights into relief efforts and the challenges faced by local communities through a global perspective. Join us every Wednesday by 8 a.m. on Hued Network's YouTube channel as we embark on this journey of positive change.
Yeah, welcome back. It's been a stretch of conversation, and we've gone back and forth talking about how this thing impacts them, the victims, socially. John, earlier I talked about education, and I remember vividly there was this lady then in my school that it happened that she had this blackmailer, right? How the videos came out on board is even a longer story, right? But the blackmailer had the videos, and then he kept asking for money. And sometimes this girl will have to go and borrow money to give this guy.
Imagine.
Do all sorts of things to give the guy. And then at a point she was like, do you know what? I'm not doing that again. Do anything you want to do. I think this lady was in her final year. And so it was just one random night. I think it was on a Sunday night or so. I really can't remember. But I was in the hostel that day, and then we just hearing shots from everywhere. Actually, the first thing you think that is fire that is happening, right?
Yeah.
And then we go out, and then
Indeed, there's even fire.
and then actually this thing is spreading like wildfire. Everybody is sending to everybody and things like that.
That's
and I think the good thing on this girl's part is the fact that I think she was already prepared for everything that came after.
The consequences.
Because she was legit in the department the next day with no
Straight face.
exactly straight face. There was nothing on her face and all of that. But I think the good thing about it was the fact that the management took that story up and actually dealt with the blackmailer. That's the good part of it. So like that's just one case. Someone that was able to overcome all of the normal, but I feel like behind all of that, right, she will have gone through different stages of all of these things.
True.
So what are those stages that the victims likely would go through, and how do they even come out of it if they have to come out?
Okay, so one of the things that will happen first is that you'll be shocked, obviously, and then the hurt that someone that you trusted is doing this to you. Then the next thing that you'll move to is anxiety, because you'll be anxious. You will always be on alert,
On your toes.
You don't know when the person will be too angry and then decide to release it. And if you're a person that already started paying the person, that's a whole
There's no
different
going
level.
back.
You can't
Yes.
go back again. You have to keep paying.
That means people will go broke. Blackmailers will go broke.
People that are usually involved in this, like I said earlier, you will notice that their finances suffer.
Yes,
It suffers a lot.
Yeah.
So anxiety, then depression, everything
It just begins to follow themselves, and then
everything. You just
realize.
realize that it affects every area of your life, your relationship with people. You isolate yourself. You're always wondering because of the shame, the guilt that could possibly come out of this whole thing. But if you find yourself in this kind of situation, the best thing is, first of all, report to the appropriate authorities. Let them be aware. Tell your family and friends, those that you trust, first of all. You tell them that this has happened. Either by your consent or it's not your consent. Whichever be the case. Open up to people that are there to you, because they will be your only support if anything happens next. Then the next thing is, don't pay. The worst thing you can do is to begin payment. If you start, you have only empowered the person to know that you can actually
Be subdued.
Exactly. You have empowered the person. So report the person to the appropriate authorities after you tell your family and friends. Let them be aware that this is happening. Then prepare yourself psychologically for anything that comes out of it. If the person ends up, because the system we have here, it's not just Nigeria, everywhere in the world.
Yes.
You can't track, let's say that I'm in Nigeria and I'm talking to someone that is maybe in Russia or something like that. Nigerian police system they can't go there.
Yes.
They can't go and pick up someone in Russia. No matter how you want to track the person. As beautiful as the internet is a global village, but your neighbors are not always nice. So you must always be careful. So because your neighbors are not always nice, this is where the problem is. So we get to that point, you just have to know that whatever comes out of this, let it come out. People will talk about it. Just like you said, that lady came out with straight face. They can talk about it for a whole semester, but eventually it dies down.
Actually,
Another story will come
Another
up.
story, maybe someone
Different
else,
stories
or
will come
different
up,
stories
actually,
will come up, and then you move on. But the worst place to be is in a place where you empower the perpetrator. You empower the person to know that the person can affect you. Once the person knows that he can, he will go through, he can do things. The worst thing the person might do is to release it amongst your friends, but once the person becomes more aware of your environment, people around you, because the person will be monitoring what you're doing. The worst case is if it's someone that is beside you, but you're not aware that the person is beside you. The person knows. If the person is aware of all your circle and all those things, then the person will know that, if I can affect the person in class, I can affect other places. The person can now go further to share the videos and pictures to other places. So always have in mind that be prepared for whatever comes out of it, but never empower your perpetrator don't show vulnerability at all at any point.
Yeah, like it's actually I think the story just keeps sinking me down, like as we go deeper into it, because I can just imagine like even if it's something that I did, right? I can't imagine someone now coming, because I did it with you because from a place of trust, and then you're now coming back at me.
Yeah.
It's hurtful.
In fact, the person is shameless.
It's hurtful, right? And there are just so many, eating rings amidst all of these things, because it just keeps going round and round in circles. In such a situation, right? Your blackmailer knows your next move already, because it's your blackmailer that is even going to be advising you.
And most times,
you should do this next.
Most times, it's even like the person that is even close to you will even be giving the blackmailer your information.
Exactly.
Like, okay, this is what she's doing right now. No, not me. Not me. The person will even be asking you, okay, so what do you think on doing to this blackmailer?
Exactly.
And the person will now go back. Do you know what she wants to do? She wants to set you up. She wants to go to the police and act fast, that kind of thing. There are people that are really, really, really jobless.
And the thing is that most of those people that blackmail people, these blackmailers, and they go for people that are emotionally vulnerable. That's what they target. So let's say that they are strangers you meet online. There are questions. They first of all start with questions, try to build relationship. Your response is tell them where your emotional state is. So once they are able to identify your emotional state, that you have vulnerabilities, that you have insecurities, that's where they come from. Imagine someone that is struggling with self-esteem or body issues or something, and the person is telling you are fine. You understand?
It's not making your head to swell.
So eventually you give in. So the person watches. These are the things that they watch out for before they pick their victims.
Yeah, like. Again, if we are saying that, another thing I think we should also emphasize is the fact that go legal with such a case. Like you should go. I mean, in several countries already, there are laws that help with all of these things. US, for example, that has a very high number of cases. I mean, in trying to prepare for this topic, I stumbled on one FBI site that was dedicated for like sextortion. And the interesting thing about that site is that it has different stories, and it also has the progress reports on whatever story. So it's more like you are seeing, this person was arrested now, this person was sent to, has been charged to court and things like that. Like it gives you the progression of your story, right? So the very first thing to do, I mean, that's actually a very good one in the US, right? Another thing again, in Nigeria, Nigeria has the Cybercrime Act of 2015. South Africa also has the Cyber Act of 2021. And all of these things, they are all focused on tackling all of these things: sextortion, people who are online that are extorting you, blackmailing you, and things like that. But with all of this, right, there are still limitations, because I mean, in cases of Nigeria and South Africa now, for example, enforcement still remains a very big issue. Even in the US, where they are actually ahead of all of these things, right? They still have issues when it's the person that is blackmailing you is not in the US, it's cross-border. There's that cross-border one, and then there's now the cross-border that that is in a country where they don't have relationship with, so they cannot even extradite the person. Like, I mean, recently in the news, it was in the news that they extradited this guy from Nigeria to the US because he extorted, he was sextorting a 17-year-old boy.
Wow.
Exactly. It's a very sad case, actually. And the boy eventually killed himself. And that's like the extreme of extremes. And in this particular case, now imagine number of 17-year-old boys, number of 17-year-old girls that are still in their closets.
It has happened to, and they are just
not that it's
quiet.
It's even still happening to them. It's just still happening to them. And trying to bring enforcement to all of these people is actually very hard. Trying to bring justice to these people is actually very hard, I must say.
Now, this brings me to what I'm even saying that it's not just the young adults that are actually affected. Even the minors are affected. Imagine a 17-year-old child committed suicide because of this. Somebody that, if you even look at it, you'll be like, the people that can literally be affected are the young adults, because they'll be like, okay, I've achieved so thing, I've achieved so that. These ones have not even, they don't even know how their future will look like, but they're already affected psychologically. And for this 17-year-old child to be like, let me just die, because there's no point of trying to prove to the world that I did not do this, or even though I did this, why should it be leaked? Do you understand? And this brings me to another story of two Nigerian brothers. Nigerians, I don't know. They were also arrested because they also did the same thing to someone else in the US. Do you get? And they were sentenced to 17 years and 6 months in prison. At least let them go there and go and rest. Because this whole thing is, in as much as we are saying it, is deeper than how we are saying it. The feeling alone is something that we cannot really explain. It's only the person that is actually going through it that can be like, okay, this is how I feel. So, and also, this brings me to United Nations Convention for the rights of children. That's to tell you that there are also legal laws that are there to protect children against this, because if you are caught, especially in the US and every other, and like I said, the story I just shared now, this is like the first Nigerian US story that has been sentenced, like marking the first of its kind that they've actually taken very, very serious, and they've actually sentenced these guys to prison. So,
well, I think it's also important to emphasize that even the UN, ODC, and also Interpol are still beckoning on government that they should try to enforce all of these laws even better, because there are sad cases, there are high numbers, and we were tired of losing people to all of this. But we've mentioned all of this, right? What are the ways to even prevent this thing? I think the very first one that we should actually emphasize on is the fact that if you don't send this thing in the first place, we will not even be here discussing sextortion in the first place. Like, intimate times should be intimate. You don't need a camera to see how did I look when I was doing it. You don't need all of that. All you just need to do is let the memories be in your head.
Set your boundaries.
The boundaries should be very clear. Like, okay, this is the US, this is Mexico. That's how we should be. We should know on the map that, okay, from year to year you can, but from year to year, try not to. And it should be like that. You shouldn't bend your boundaries because of one person's will, even in long distance relationships, because I think they are the ones that actually face all of these things, and sometimes and we mentioned that of online dating as well, because I mean, sometimes you've not seen this person before and you're trying to do all the person wants and all of that. Even at that, it might be someone that is love-starved and things like that, but notwithstanding, don't do it. You should not send. If you don't send, it won't come up in the first place.
In fact, it's not even easy when you are seeing the person, because the person you're seeing, that's physical now. The person can actually do that to you. Talk more of someone that is in another country, like I've passed the Mediterranean Sea, and you have not even seen that person. The person can actually hurt you. So this brings me to another thing. You made this very, very strong statement that you cannot be too careful. Is still saying, because in as much as, yes, you said you shouldn't upload this, because another angle is most of these people actually place the camera somewhere without the consent of this other party. So how is that person supposed to know? So what's me? I will say, hey God, I don't know, just be fine, because and again, don't pay. Every choice you make has its consequences. That's what I believe. So if you are doing something with somebody, just be ready to face anything. And don't go and kill yourself, because there's life after that thing you just did. There's life after that video. There is more to enjoy. I'm not encouraging such, but I'm just saying that put on the garment of braveness, put on the garment of strength. Don't allow anybody to bring you down, because of everybody make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. So don't kill yourself because of a mistake that you made, and you now allow somebody to demean you or to subdue you. So just move on and be fine.
Because this is now that's become frequent with minors and young adults. I think one of the things I would say we could do is create awareness in schools. Talk about it. This is a digital era. You can't take phone. It's practically impossible to take away gadgets from students and minors, the rest of them.
It's one way or the other embedded.
Exactly. So, because we can't do that, it's better to equip them with the mindset they need. How do they identify perverts like this? What are the traces they can see, when they can pick up, when they have conversations with people and know that this is not right, this is right. So So awareness, let schools take up this thing. Let it be taught in classes. Let us talk about it when we go for holiday programs and all those things for students, for young adults, youth empowerment and all those things. Let them be aware. I think awareness is once people are more aware of the way these people operate, even as we're talking about sextortion, some people are still wondering what we're talking about and we're talking about it now because they might not have experienced or heard about it before. Or maybe they're hearing about it from afar and they think it's something far there. So I think creating more awareness about it, talk about it in school, since almost everybody has a phone now. So a child as little as 5-year-old already has maybe a tab or a gadget in his hand.
Somebody who knows how to operate phones that they can take pictures and things like that.
Exactly. So let them be aware on time as early as 12, 13 years. Let them be aware of these are the things that could happen and these are the consequences when you decide to make this kind of choice. Don't do this, set the appropriate boundaries. These are the things that could happen if you don't. And at the end of the day, I think we can have less victims.
Yeah, and sorry, I want to add something else. The legal systems, they should take this matter very, very serious.
Exactly.
Because it's not, I say that there are two types of injury, the physical injury and the internal injury. And you know the one that kills faster? The internal injury. That's the one that people don't see. So because somebody comes to tell you that they are sextorting me and somebody on the uniform will be like, what do you mean? Just go and eat and sleep and leave it. No, you fight it immediately because we're talking about the person's future here. We're talking about the person's generation here. So you have to make sure that this issue is settled. And for parents, don't castigate your child. Don't push your child away. That's even the major time for you to even fight for your child. I'm talking about like in the minor angle.
I think there are lots of ways to spin this thing around. And I think that it's important that we see our children, our minors, take them we treat them with care and then we can ensure that they are protected at all costs. Because I think it's more sad that these things happen to minor. It is very, very sad. Like I'm trying to suppress all of the emotions right now, but then it's very, very annoying. Right? And I think if we have enough awareness in our schools and environments, enough of monitoring from parents, from guardians. I mean, they can't do enough. We've said it enough. They cannot be too careful. So if you keep saying it so that our minors don't fall victims, even we ourselves don't fall victims for things like this. And I've said it before and I'm saying it again and I'm using this as a closing statement. If you don't take these pictures and send them, if you don't take these videos and send them, we won't have any issue. We won't have up to 7,000 cases in the US and several cases across the world again. All of this won't happen, but rather we'll be talking about other ways to make our countries, our environment a better place, make the world a better place. And please, I'm saying again, if you don't send it, we won't be here talking about this.
And for those culprits, we're coming for you.
Actually, we're coming for you. This one is not up to God. It's we coming for you.
Yes, me and Paul.
And my name is Paul, and that's how we'll close the episode today on Here on Timeline. It's been a lovely episode. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Don't blush. It's been a lovely episode. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe and spread the word. And tell that your partner that is disturbing you that my no means no. Bye for now.
Bye guys.